In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Imperial Clone Shock Trooper for the Black Series 6-inch line. So this guy has been out for what, maybe 2 or 3 years now at this point? I think he was originally released when Season 1 of the Bad Batch debuted. And it's one I've eyed for the last couple years now. It was one of those action figures where if I can find it for a good price, I'll get it, but I'm not going to spend the $28 that is the typical asking price for this. And that time has finally come. The other day, Walmart was doing a huge clearance sale on a lot of action figures, and this one ended up going down to $11. So after all the shipping and the taxes and everything, I only paid about $17 or $18 for this guy. So not a bad deal at all. And it's a good clone. I'm happy to have it. It's not perfect. There is a little bit of a problem with mine, and that's mainly in the red stripes along his brim there. It's not totally even with his helmet. The print of it is just a little bit off. I think this was during a time when Hasbro was still having some quality control issues, and this figure unfortunately fell victim to that. I think I have seen other people's samples out there before too, where the brim of it's a little bit off, or maybe the visor is not painted accurately or something like that. But still, it's not the end of the world. It's, if you look at it from some angles, you can't really notice it. But there's worse things that can happen to your action figures out there. It's not totally accurate to the movies either. He doesn't have the black line above his visor there. Of course, this is more accurate to the animated show. And I think to this day, we don't really have a movie-accurate Shock Trooper yet in the Black Series line, if I recall correctly. We had the 501st. We don't even have a 212th, I don't think. I would have to go back and check. I know there's some 4-packs that were released around 2014 or 15 that featured a lot of these more movie-accurate clones, but I don't think the Shock Trooper was included in that. And what more can I say about this? It's a pretty standard action figure. There's really nothing new about it. It's just a plain old Shock Trooper that happens to have a pauldron. To me, this would signify a clone officer of some sorts, but they're just counting this as like a standard Shock Trooper, which we know is not accurate at all. I do know that the pauldron here is glued down, so if you wanted to make this just a standard trooper without it, you'd have to cut that pauldron off. I don't think I'm going to do that because it's probably going to be the one action figure of it I have, and I don't want to risk damaging it of any kind, so if I get a second one at some point. But that clearance sale only lasted about a day, and within 24 hours of purchasing this, I went ahead and checked on Walmart again. It was already back up to $35. So not too bad, $11 for a Black Series action figure. Let's just go ahead and take a close look at this package. So it is the Bad Batch Imperial Clone Shock Trooper. So is this technically a Stormtrooper at this point? When we see this guy in the Bad Batch series, it's pretty much immediately during and immediately after Order 66, so it's technically in limbo still, whether it's the Empire or not. But still, they called it the Imperial Clone Shock Trooper. It's interesting. Nice image of him there. Does have some gunships up there. Box was a little beat up for me. It's probably been sitting in a warehouse for 2.5 years now at this point. And he's figure number 7 from the Bad Batch. Originally founded during the Clone Wars as security police for the Coruscant governmental facilities and bodyguards for the Republic representatives, the group of clones known as Shock Troopers now operate as elite forces of the Empire. So I guess they're technically counting this guy as a Stormtrooper at this point. It's a pretty nice package. I really like the dark red color scheme it has with it. Let's just take a closer look at this guy. It's basically just a repaint of the Camino clone trooper that was released at the very beginning of this new package design for the Black Series, which from my understanding, the Black Series is going to be getting another package change here very soon with the Acolyte figures. Instead of having it with a slant on the side, it's just going to be totally flush. It's going to be a regular box again. And it's going to kind of go back to the red and black package from my understanding. So I know it might be kind of hard to tell. Of course, when I film this video, it's really hard to point this stuff out. But yeah, I think the red stripes there aren't totally even with the helmet. At least from some angles I looked at it, it didn't seem to be. Same with the stripes here. It's like these ones look a little more darker compared to this side, and these ones are a little bit more defined. I suppose you could take some red paint and edit it yourself. Same with the black line above the brow there. We have the pauldron. Rest of the armor. I've probably featured this particular clone mold on this channel so many times before up until now. And in fact, I know I have. It's the red for the legs there. Some red striping on the sides. Not sure how accurate this is to the movie. I'll have to get a few of my 3 3/4 inch shock troopers out at some point and see how this guy looks side by side with those. Like the stripes here, for example. At some point I would like to do a dedicated shock trooper video. Just taking all the Coruscant Guard troopers I have, putting them all together, making one video for them. So articulation is pretty standard for the Black Series. Ball joint the head. He does have the unpainted head underneath the helmet. So if you wanted to somehow get that helmet off and paint your own head, you could do that for the clone. But he does have the hinge at the shoulders, and it has the flex and the shoulder armor there to where you can raise it above the armor, but you really can't do that because of the pauldron here. It's kind of restricted. It almost looks like he has a double joint elbow there, but he really doesn't. It's just a solid 90 degrees. And the hinge at the wrist, joint the torso, the hinged hips, and then swivel thigh. Has a single hinge at the knees. Doesn't have the pins and the rocker ankles. For his accessories, very standard. Just the 2 DC-15 rifles, the short one and the longer rifle. Nothing new about that at all. I don't even think they're painted different in any way. Pretty standard. Pretty good sculpting work. Just need some edits on the paint. Other than that, it's a perfect action figure. Happy to finally add this. So while we might not have too many shock troopers in the Black Series line, we do have a shock trooper of some sorts. I hope to get around to reviewing on this channel here very soon. That is none other than Commander Fox. I actually found this for a really good deal back at the time he was released. I know he didn't really make his way around stores too much. It seemed like a lot of people had a hard time finding him, and to this day he's gone on to become a very expensive clone trooper, oddly enough. But you can see the huge difference in the red paint. Fox has a much more darker paint scheme going on, a lot more dirt applied to him, while the clone shock trooper here has a much more lighter red. Of course, clean armor. They look pretty good side by side. I'm sure that's how I'll have them displayed. With all that being said, would I recommend this Imperial Clone Shock Trooper for your collection? I would. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend paying an outrageous price for him. If you got paid more than $30 for him, definitely not worth it. I mean, there's really nothing new about him. I suppose if you're really insistent about having a Shock Trooper in your collection for the Black Series, then yes, this is probably about your best bet at this point. But it's a nice army builder. Not a whole lot I can say about it. Looks pretty good. It's not movie accurate. You can make it movie accurate if you wanted to. Of course, it's more accurate to the Clone Wars / Bad Batch show. And some people have different, there's mixed opinions about that among the community. Some people like that it's, it should be based off the media that he's representing. And some people say that everything should be movie accurate across the board. I have mixed feelings about it. Perhaps I'll make a video on that someday. Overall, I'm happy with it. I'm glad I didn't pay an outrageous price for them. $11 is fair, and about $17 or $18 overall. So can't complain. And I think he'll look good beside Commander Fox here. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There'll always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support, and check out some of the links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.